Today we're going to be looking at some of the darkest TikToks once again. For the video starts, I just want to thank all my channel members, all 53 of these beautiful people. Touching this AM tower could eliminate you. Point of view, this is why you never touch an AM tower. I don't even know what an AM tower is. Is that like just another word for saying the cell towers? I hope so, probably.
Climb, man. Oh, no, it's on. It's on.
Yeah, this right here is exactly why you don't go climbing random AM towers, even if you think they've been abandoned, because it could kill you. This video shows a guy that I believe to be an urban explorer walking up to an AM tower, and it appears as though he has the intention of climbing it. He then touches the tower with a stick that has a hot dog on the end of it, and we hear an electrical current that kind of sounds like a voice. If you guys have heard of AM radio, these towers are exactly how you guys get that signal, and the entire tower here is actually the antenna, meaning that it has electricity coursing through it. But even if the electricity itself doesn't get you, these towers also can cause RF burns, which stands for radio frequency burns, which often causes intense, deep, and penetrative tissue damage. And even if you test a tower that you think has been abandoned and the hot dog doesn't do anything, it might just be off for maintenance and they might turn it on while you're climbing it. So just don't mess around with it. And if you are still going to mess around with one of these towers, at least now you know the risks.
Kim Kardashian just had a brain scan that revealed she has low brain activity. So Kim went to a celebrity doctor to have this scan done. And what it revealed is basically what everyone has been saying about her for years now. You see, the activity in the front part of her brain is lower than it should be. And that can apparently make it harder for her to manage stress. In response to learning this, Kim said that it can't be and that she does not accept having low brain activity.
Yo, that's actually hilarious. I mean, I've heard that low brain activity doesn't necessarily mean that you're unintelligent. Like, it doesn't mean that you're dumb. But that's just hilarious that someone like Kim Kardashian would have low brain activity. I could see it, honestly.
Studies show that 48 feet is when falls for an adult human have a 50% mortality rate, and anything above 84 feet, survival is highly unlikely. Which made me wonder, what are some of the highest falls humans have ever survived? Bear Grylls actually makes the list back in 1996, way before he was famous for Man vs. Wild, and he was just a 21-year-old British soldier. During a parachute training over Zambia, his chute failed to open and he survived a 16,000-foot drop, landing on his parachute backpack and fracturing 3 vertebrae. And just 18 months after that accident and lots of physical therapy, he ended up climbing the summit of Mount Everest. In 1981, Larissa Savitskaya was the sole survivor of Aeroflot Flight 811 over Russia. The passenger plane collided with a bomber, killing 37 people between both planes, and Larissa survived by being in a fragment of the plane that took 8 minutes to glide to the ground. 17,000 feet, and it landed somewhere softly in a swamp, but knocked Larissa unconscious upon landing. Nicholas Alcamade was a British World War II soldier who bailed out of his gunner plane with no parachute, free-falling 18,000 feet and landing in dense snow near Berlin. He walked away with only a twisted knee and some bruises, but then he was captured by the Gestapo and held as a prisoner of war for a year. But the person who survived the longest fall ever was a Serbian flight attendant named Vesna Volovic back in 1972. Vesna was the sole survivor of JAT Flight 367 after a briefcase bomb exploded in the baggage compartment. She survived a 33,000-foot fall because one of the food carts trapped her inside of the plane when it depressurized while everyone else was blown out of the plane and fell to their death. She broke tons of bones and went into a coma, but eventually made a full recovery. She even wanted to go back to being a flight attendant, but the company gave her a cushy desk job over fears that her local celebrity status would be a distraction. But then in the 1990s, they fired her anyways due to her taking part in anti-government protests and supporting the breakup of Yugoslavia, so that wasn't very cool of them. But it is cool that she survived 33,000-foot fall. That's cool, I guess. It's not cool that she got fired, though.
My main thought is like, how did none of these people get crippled? All of these people survived falls that were over like quote unquote 10,000 feet, and none of them got crippled. They all were just able to walk. Like the first dude, he literally went back to go climb Mount Everest.
This video is going viral on Twitter because this is in Brussels. It's a farmers' protest again. The farmers are still pissed because they're mandating that they feed their cows Bovivar. You got to hear what's going on in freaking Europe, man. They're making them feed their cows a feed that the owner of Microsoft sponsors called Bovivar that reduces the emissions from the cows farting, literally. But farmers are reporting their cows are dropping like flies being fed this stuff. They push the police barricade out of the way and they hose the government building with manure or liquid freaking sludge, whatever, from their farm. They don't mess around. You've seen them dump truckloads of hay and manure and everything in front of the building. Now they're spraying the whole thing And when the farmers wake up and all the citizens get fed by the farmers, whose side do you think the citizens are going to be on? You know what happens if you don't feed your cows the Boivar feed? You get taxed out the yin yang. You basically go bankrupt if you do not feed your cows. You know what? If you don't feed them this feed, because what they say is the cows are emitting too much emissions that's causing the climate to change, and we're supposed to be hitting these climate targets. We need to reduce emissions by such and such percent. The only way to do that is if little ass Belgium over there in Europe feeds their not even that many million cows, probably not even a million freaking cows, Boivar. Meanwhile, China, with billions of cows, has no such policy at all. India, no cow fart policy. It's ridiculous. It's part of a plan. It's nothing to do with what they say it is. It's about control, and it's about this. That's what it's about, and you're naive and delusional and confused if you think otherwise. Now, they got more planned for us over here in North America with more GMO feed, probably Boivar. We know that they massively introduce antibiotics and all kinds of pharmaceuticals to the animals that are factory farmed in feedlots. It's totally toxic, and we've been eating this stuff our whole life. This is the importance of shopping local and organic, knowing where your meat's coming from, that it's pastured, organic pasture raised.
Last thing we need to worry about is the cow manure or cow methane gas that they're saying that's messing up our atmosphere. And we need to really think about the jets. Like, you know what I'm saying? I love to fly every now and then, but like, I think what's really destroying our atmosphere is the gases, like the planes, the cars and stuff like that, because they emit a lot of like CO2. You know who really emit a lot of CO2? Taylor Swift. They say Taylor Swift takes her jet everywhere and it emits like more CO2 carbon emissions than it needs to. So that's who really needs to stop flying, if I'm being honest.
Oh, you lost it.
Oh, shit!
Oh no. Oh hell no. Yo, this is why I can't. Yo, what the hell was that? Yo, that scared me so bad I like went back a video. That's crazy. What the freaky? Hell no, bro. I need to watch some of these videos before I put them in. I did not expect that. I'm so serious.
Monster energy drinks are getting exposed right now for containing something so shocking. I don't know why people drink them anyway. You know that M right there? It's not an M. Those are three separate characters. If you look closely, they are not touching each other. They are three separate characters from the Hebrew alphabet, specifically numerical. They look like exactly like the letter 666, the number 666 in Hebrew. And it says right on it, Unleash the Beast, Monster Energy. I mean, it's a biblical reference all over it. But look at these floaties, not the bubbles, but the floaties. Look closely. People are saying that it's nanoplastics, possibly, you know how there's nanoparticles in Coca-Cola? We don't know if it's that clumped together. All I know is if you watered your plants with this stuff, it would obviously unalive them. They would shorten their lifespan significantly. They would probably freaking coil up. The leaves would freaking burn off if you watered your plants with it. But people drink it for some reason. It's amazing because the natural world has energy drinks, things you can drink that give you energy. But the world we live in today, which is rebelling against the natural world and against God, has things like this with a million chemicals in it that's totally toxic, that is for some reason popular and people actually buy it. But only through lack of knowledge.
Definitely never put Monster Energy into your plants. Like, do not water your plants with Monster Energy. That's the worst thing someone could do. If this creeps you out, here's the reason why.
If this creeps you out, here's the reason why.
Money.
Okay guys, you've officially summoned me to this video, even though this is a topic that we've already covered twice in the past. So as it turns out, this video right here was creeping out a ton of people, and it's because this lady is just staring at the camera for 15 seconds straight, making the same facial expression. Now, I'm not sure if this lady was doing this on purpose, but many people in the comments were saying that this was triggering an uncanny valley-like reaction. So if you're one of the people that found this creepy, here's the explanation as to why. The uncanny valley phenomenon is a relatively new phrase that came about when AI started looking very similar to human, but not quite human. To put it simply, we have a graph here where the y-axis is familiarity, meaning people are familiar with it, and the x-axis is similarity to humans. The theory goes, as you go partway up this graph, things become generally more cuter because they remind us of humans. However, there's a little dip right here where things are not quite human, but they resemble humans, making them creepy. This has started a huge makeup trend where people have tried to make themselves look more robotic, all the while still trying to look human at the same time.
Why the hell would
Maybe
you do
this
that?
lady was doing the trend, maybe not, but that's how people took it.
That uncanny valley effect, I feel like it's because like when you look into the eyes of like whoever, like the robot or the whatever creature they want to make it look human, like humanic but not really human. I think it's just because when you look in their eyes, there's really no freaking soul. Like you look in half of these people's eyes, you're like, yo, what the hell am I looking at? Like, look at these eyes. There's nothing behind that. There is literally no soul behind these eyes because there isn't. There isn't a soul. It just looks like a human. Like, this is like the fakest like looking thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I don't know how to explain it. You could just tell. You know what I'm saying? It's probably just human instincts. Charlie Kirk hoax in under 3 minutes. Let's see.
This straight. Charlie Kirk had no coroner's report, no church funeral, no burial site or grave, no official death certificate. Why has no official autopsy been conducted, nor any findings released? No ballistics report. Not a single eyewitness on the record, and an award-winning widow already taking over his show. Why was the entire crime scene destroyed within hours, erasing vital evidence? They tore down everything, including the Dairy Queen. Why were there no paramedics on the scene? Why was Charlie Kirk's body removed and illegally flown out on Air Force 2? Why did Donald Trump pardon a Navy SEAL killer whose shadow looms over this case? Why was the stadium mysteriously booked by Turning Point 4 months before his death? How was a massive high-tech stadium memorial produced in only 11 days? Why do multiple women publicly appear as Erica Kirk, raising questions of identity? Why are there no birth certificates for their children? No names revealed, no faces ever shown? Where is a video of Charlie playing with his kids at a birthday party, or picnic, or any other family setting? Why do Freemasonic and satanic symbols surround this tragedy with chilling precision? Interesting that the gun was found on property owned by Palantir. Isn't it interesting Kash Patel fired many of the heads of the FBI in that area days before the shooting? Do you find it interesting that Charlie sold his house 8 months ago for $5 million?
That's crazy.
If the father of your 2 young children was just brutally murdered for the world to see days ago, do you leave them home with the nanny while you go on podcasts grinning from ear to ear? Is it not curious that a 17-year-old first-time Donald Trump beauty pageant contestant won, and now Trump appointed a top attorney general woman who has no experience, who was also in his beauty pageant? This is only a fraction of the clues and evidence on this psyop. For those of you brave enough to look at the evidence while removing the preconceived emotions, the conclusion is undeniable.
Dude, I've talked about this in like 100 different videos. If you go down the Charlie Kirk rabbit hole, I promise you will just go mentally insane. Like, you will literally just go completely insane.
This video is from 2010 of Obama and a younger Biden. You haven't seen him look that different. He doesn't just look younger, he does look quite different, but we won't make any clone claims here. But this is the moment that 30 million Americans allegedly received health care. Listen to this. Wait for it. Now, this is supposed to be like a feel-good video, right? Except it went viral, and all the comments were literally tens of thousands of Americans saying, I don't know about that. All I know is my health insurance tripled, and it was a very trying time for me in 2010 when this Obamacare thing was launched. Now, my question is this. You may think, well, this, that, or the other. When healthcare used to be about ancient, remember when it used to be every natural thing was just the norm? And then they made everything out of petroleum and then called the old natural things alternative, when really that was the norm for thousands, for as long as humans freaking existed. I don't know. Anything that's free, you are the freaking product, man. So free healthcare, I don't know. In fact, in Canada, it's the same thing. Free healthcare. It's not free. You pay for it with your tax dollars, even if you don't use the healthcare at all. For a decade, you don't go to the freaking doctor, but you paid for a lot of other people's doctor's visits. Is that the optimal way this whole thing should go? And should we continue donating billions of dollars to countries around the world when our own countries have all kinds of issues?
Appreciate the subscription.
Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more. Notice that they talk all about health, but nothing ever has been mentioned in our curriculum and school system about superfoods. In fact, the very notion of them is like woo. Meanwhile, we know we're talking foods that have dozens and hundreds of times the nutritional value of regular foods. They are superfoods. And with all
actually kind of insane to see Joe Biden looking as like sharp as he is right now. Like, I'm so used to him just looking like kind of like dead on the inside. No offense to Joe Biden, but like it's very interesting to see Joe Biden look actually like visibly attentive in these situations. Like he's clapping, like, you know what I'm saying? Joe Biden actually looks like if he didn't go through that little dementia crisis right there, he could have been a decent president. But it is what it is, you know what I'm saying?
So when did they switch out Selena Gomez? Because who the heck is this, y'all? Who is that? Is this what they mean by time is speeding up? Because these celebrities are aging. And why is she so stiff? She can barely move her head. Y'all, this is not Selena Gomez. Who is this? Look at this.
Which one of your songs gets you moving and grooving when you're on your own?
That is not something I do often. You know, I will say when I'm with my sister or we're in the car, sometimes like Who Says is one of the songs but I was 16 and that's more of a nostalgic feeling, but no.
Why does she sound like she's speaking through a speaker box, right? It sounds like she's speaking through a speaker box, and look at her eyes. I don't know about y'all, but something's not making right. Something's not adding up, man. Look at this. What is going on here? Look at the eyes. It looks put together. Y'all see this? What is Hollywood doing to these people? She looks completely robotic. Oh my goodness. So what's happening here? Is time accelerating? Is that why all these so-called celebrities looking different? I mean, every single one of them is looking different. Is this part of the so-called Mandela effect, man? Like, what is going on? Let me know that in the comments below, y'all. The shift is here. I be telling y'all. Let's get it. Peace in.
We need to talk about Selena Gomez. And no, it's not about lupus. This goes much deeper. What I am about to show you is how deep of a change Selena has gone through, looking almost unrecognizable to before. See, in elite circles, beauty isn't just an asset, it's a currency. And sometimes, that currency is traded in for something else, compliance. Hollywood has always had a strange obsession with reshaping its stars. But when someone goes from glowing, expressive, and youthful, too cold, sculpted, and oddly distant, that's not just filler, that's agenda. These transformations break the emotional bond fans have with the star. Suddenly, people feel off. She doesn't look the same. Something's wrong. Exactly. Mission accomplished. Selena Gomez has to perform loyalty to those behind her brand. It's not about being nice. It's about survival.
I've heard Selena Gomez does have a lot of health issues, like she had to get her kidney replaced and stuff like that. She also mentioned in the video towards the end of this segment that she had a lupus. You know what I'm saying? We might have to do a research on lupus, but all that could be the reason why she looks different. A lot of y'all in the chat are saying that she got cloned. She looks AI, cloning, a lot of clones. Y'all think she got cloned? That's hilarious. I mean, maybe she did get cloned. Like that video I posted the other day where they cloned Tom Brady's dead dog. So cloning is completely possible, so I would not mark that out of the equation. People who survived unsurvivable things. I think we already kind of heard something like that with the people that fell out of the freaking plane at over 10,000 feet and somehow didn't get crippled. I'd say those are one of these type of people.
People who survived unsurvivable things. Jacob Miller. He got shot between the eyes and survived. Tsutomu Yamaguchi. He survived 2 atomic bombs.
That's wild. That's a story for the kids.
And Duma Silmona fought with a leopard and survived.
It's definitely not unsurvivable.
Rommel Broom survived the electric chair.
Alright, that's crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
Dick Williams survived the Titanic.
That was also kind of survivable, I'm not gonna lie.
Alison Bota survived being kidnapped and beheaded.
That's wild. Beheaded is crazy.
Did they really think that people weren't going to watch this video? Did they really think that they were just going to be able to put out this BS statement claiming that, quote, the footage confirmed that from the time Epstein was locked in a cell around 10:40 p.m. on August 9th, 2019 until about 6:30 a.m. the next morning, nobody entered any of the tiers of the SHU? Did they really think that we're just going to take their word for it and not look? Well, guess what? I watched it all 11 hours, and let's just say they really do think that we're all idiots.
Well, the thing here is that at 12:05 a.m., you can see that in the timestamp, this big dude wearing a hoodie is seen entering this floor. He grabs the bags that are sitting there near the door, presumably linens or something, and then he tosses it out of door 46. He goes out briefly, and then he comes back in. He closes door 46 behind him and then walks down the staircase out of view. Now, a very important thing to note here is that door 46 is the only way to go in and out of this cell block floor. You can see that in the diagram here. Here's another diagram. Each of these cell blocks have 8 cells split into 2 levels, L and M, so 16 total each. You can see from the point of view of the officer's station that Epstein's cell is in the upper L level. But once again, I have to pull up the screenshot to show that that area that we were just looking at is almost completely obstructed from view. You can see maybe the little teeth that is in the staircase going up to the L level. So really anyone could have gone up and down that staircase without being seen by this camera. So the claim that this footage can conclusively prove anything is sort of laughable already, but let's keep going. At 3:15 a.m., a female officer goes out of door 46 and then comes back in at 3:17. And just to remind people again, you cannot see the stairwell that goes up into Jeffrey Epstein's cell block. But what we do know for sure now is that there are people coming and going throughout the night in and out of this floor. Then there's this craziness where 1 full minute of footage is just missing. It goes from 11:58:58 to 12:01:01. And you can even see the video frame change. Right there, 11:58:58, 12:01:01. And then something else that's kind of odd here in this moment is that some sort of editing software menu pops up in that upper right-hand corner. Finally, this is near the end of the video, allegedly capturing the moment at around 6:30 a.m. when officers realized that Epstein had quote-unquote. The footage is sort of blurry, but you can kind of make out that there's a lot of commotion and movement and discussion in the background there. I'm sure they're trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
So yeah, they're not even hiding it anymore at this point. This whole thing was a ruse by the Trump administration to pretend that they were taking on the deep state, when in fact, they are the deep state.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. This man is actually knows he's This man actually knows he's already dead. Okay.
It might look like this guy just completely tanked a cobra bite with no reaction, but behind the scenes, things were not going to end up well, and this was one of the last things that he did before passing away. The video that you guys just watched shows a man handling a cobra and attempting to capture it with his bare hands. He does end up succeeding in capturing it, however, he gets bit, he pulls the cobra off, sucks out the venom, but by this point, it's far too late. The man seen in this clip was a very experienced police constable, having been a veteran for 17 years by the name of Santosh Chaudhary. This incident happened very recently in September of 2025 here in India, and Santosh successfully did end up capturing this cobra. However, when he was trying to pose for a photo after his hard work, this is when he was bit. Pretty much directly after being bit, Santosh did go to the hospital despite his brave disposition here, but it was too little too late, and I'm not going to show this part, but the later second half of this video shows him on a table, them performing CPR on him, and him not being revived. He's pretty much gone by that point.
Damn,
apparently, as of recently, this is a little bit more commonplace in India as well. People that are not quite qualified to capture snakes and not doing this in a safe way, then getting bit and passing away because they're handling dangerous snakes like cobras. As always, though, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Drop a comment, letting me know what you want to see next, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Dude, he was good too. Like, he captured it and was good, but then he tried to flex. He tried to show off to the camera like, yo, guys, look, I'm him. I have a cobra in my hand, and it didn't bite me. And then guess what? The cobra bit him. And sadly enough, he ended up passing.
We're in the middle of the ocean. There's no way he makes it to land.
That's crazy.
Trust me. He's gonna make it. You have no idea who you're talking about. Meet the albatross. It's a huge seabird that's known for having the largest wingspan of any bird on Earth. 12 feet. That's more than twice my height. But they use those wings to fly distances that I can't even comprehend. They're capable of flying over 10,000 miles without ever landing. In fact, there was one report of an albatross flying over 120,000 miles without ever touching the ground.
Insane.
That's equivalent to 5 times around the earth. And it only took 13 months. But that raises the question, what about food and sleeping? Well, they have special tendons in their wings that allow their wings to lock into place open, so they use no energy. That allows them to literally sleep in midair. That's awesome. They can also eat on the fly, scooping fish and squid right from the water surface. Moral of the story? I understand. It's weird to see birds in the middle of the ocean, but let me tell you, those birds have a better chance of making it than you do. And as always, follow for more facts.
Whatever you do, don't put your hand in the water.
Money.
Oh my god.
Most of the time when this is something I ask, I almost always say no. This time though, I would actually do this for $1 million. The video that you guys just watched shows this person holding a brown blob. They then place it inside of this basket that kind of looks like a deep fryer, and within a few short seconds, the blob is completely covered in these writhing creatures. Now what we're looking at here are hungry juvenile eels, and it's their dinner time. The eels featured in this video are more than likely the same that are found in Japanese eel farms, and these are used for human consumption. In terms of these unappetizing blobs, more than likely this is made out of fish meal, soybeans, and fish oil. And this will provide more than enough sustenance for these eels to grow up and be used for food. While these baby eels are carnivorous, if you were to jump in yourself, you'd probably be just fine, and you would more than likely not be bit very much, if at all. This is definitely just more unsightly than anything. Again, it's not dangerous at all.
Police body cam footage of a real life possession. The cops get called to a church, right? Yeah. They see a man just standing in the middle of the altar staring at the cross, and apparently like he was like wreaking havoc inside the church, trying to steal stuff, trying to take down like the cross, and he was just basically being crazy in there, right? And the people in the church were telling him, relax, you don't have to do nothing, but that's why they ended up calling the cops, right? So the cops get there, and this is what the body cam footage captures.
Hello, sir. Deputy Roland to the Sheriff's Office. How are you?
I'm alright.
Okay, so what's going on today?
I just need to open this.
Well, we can't really do that. That's the church's property.
Okay.
Oh! Oh my god.
Wait, he does that multiple times?
What the hell?
So how'd you end up here today?
Because I'm Jesus.
I mean, for me to help you, you have to talk to me.
Oh! Oh! What is good with this dude?
I'm telling you, bro. What is wrong with him?
Yo, he's tweaking. He's tweaking.
Yo, what the?
Get back! 20, step up, 660. No!
Wildin', bro.
Yo, tase him, dude.
Alright.
I'm ready to speak. I am here. And you will see me again.
Yo, that cop saw this dude fall backwards, like full force, no like bracing anything. And that cop did not care. He was like, yo, dude, you gotta talk to me. And that dude did talk. Surprising. I thought he got knocked out by doing some stupid stuff like that. But nah, dude was fine.
NASA cut their live stream when a bunch of people identified an unidentified flying object coming out the cut like peroxide, lit up. What's that? And hold on, it gets crazier. Exactly. It disappeared live on cam. But no worries. It came back like cook crack in the 80s. And everybody was like, hold on, wait. Replay, what was that? And instead, NASA was like, cut that shit, bro. Yeah, no, that's the question that we all asking. Because as you can see, here it come out the cut like Neosporin. What is that? And they cut the live stream completely, acting like they was having technical difficulties. That don't look like no technical difficulty. That look like an alien or some super government moving, grooving, vibing, sliding type shit that you don't want us to know about. And the thing is, it was over China. So that makes me question, like, wait a second, did you not want us to see one of China's secret little weapons? Or here's another angle where it was just a little bit more lit up. And as you can see, it's just like, There's these random lights that don't look that random that just slowly come across the screen. She's like, wait a second. What you just catch? People are immediately speculating that was a TR-3B or a Black Manta or basically a stealth government object craft that China and U.S. supposedly have but don't want to tell each other and don't want to tell the public because it's that elite and it's that Mephistophelian of a vehicle. But that don't look like was flying across the state. It's 2025. Can we just admit that there's aliens or that there's another species we don't know about that's clearly more intelligent than us? I promise. Humans not going to freak out. Yeah, there's going to be some people that question their religion and be like, wait a second, well, do they know where we came from? Or like, do they know the origin? Could it flip our world upside? Yeah, maybe, but that's what the fuck we need at this point in time because there's too much stuff going on. Like, think about it. We still in war. We know humans exist all around the world, but still we're like, we need to blow them up. Aliens could probably be here to help and be like, yeah, no, you guys are going to go into another extinction. If anything, let's wave them down and be like, hey.
Yo, I love the fact that this guy's speaking for all of humanity. The bro literally said that we won't freak out like he knows. Honestly, you know what that could be, if I'm being honest? Aliens. Or it could just be NASA just lying. And they're like, oh, shoot, something just got into frame. We got to, like, shut the stream off so they don't know. The Russian rabies case that shocked the medical world in 2008. Rabies is scary, bro. Never wish that on anybody.
Ну хорошо, если сейчас предложить водички попить как?
Нет, ну я попробую. Только посмотреть, что из этого получится. Я боюсь, конечно. Мне уже это...
Ему было плохо после воды.
Так, ну тогда не надо. Ну давайте попробуем. Ну если будет нехорошо, не надо.
Да.
Не надо тогда. Ну вот, а сейчас, вот, значит, воздухом, если вот так вот подуть.
Ну, сразу такой. Вот такой. Ну, такой, не знаю, как вот, рефлекс, наверное, сдается. Вот нет воздуха, ну и лежу.
Что?
Вот нет воздуха такого сильного. Ну и лежу. Как идет воздух, притом, сразу начинается рефлекс.
All I know is that with rabies, if you drink water, apparently like your whole soul just like rebukes water. And I like water. Talking about water, I'm about to drink some water right now. And I love my water, so no rabies for me.
In 2015, an Australian guy took 3 Snapchat videos of his exotic birds and put them on his story. 15 minutes later, his buddy texts him asking, what was in the window behind you on that last one? He pulls up the videos and sure enough, in the last one, you can clearly see someone is pressed against the glass. Nothing comes of the Snapchat videos, but a week later, he hears banging coming from that same door in his house, and he gets his phone out and he walks over to film it in case there's someone there. There isn't, but he uploads the video to YouTube anyways. The next day, someone sends him an enhanced version of that video where as he's walking to investigate the noises, someone with a mask on is standing in the corner of his house. He goes to the police, who look at the video and they're like, sorry, that is a masked intruder in your home.
Remember how we all thought it was weird that UVU was renovating the courtyard where Charlie Kirk was assassinated? Only a few days after the fact. Then how a UVU official addressed this, saying that it wasn't an attempt to cover up anything, that the paving work was already on the calendar as part of a planned campus renovation. Well, it turns out that UVU was reaching out to construction companies on Saturday, September 13th, only 3 days after the assassination. Text messages were obtained by Project Constitution via a grandma request, which allows the public to request access to government records, including state universities. Now, the names are redacted, but it shows that as early as Saturday, September 13th, they were looking to paver the whole area, and that the guys in the construction company were en route to do that. And this one's weird. Maybe that would be good. My guys are well trained in keeping quiet. Why do they need to be quiet? The exchange goes on to say that the university wants to get rid of all of the sod. The contractor asking if there's anybody on site that they should coordinate with, and someone responding, just get her done. Thank you. Usually a renovation like this would have to go through approvals and funding, not to mention it was a crime scene. Plus, if this was previously planned, would you need to be asking all of these questions, including making design decisions? So you have to wonder, how did they get this approval? And who gave it to them, and why? As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
No comment.
Right, things that used to look creepy. What do you mean used to? Like, don't start scare. What was scary about Firefighter? What do you mean? It looks like a Pokemon, a Squirtle on his head. That's not scary. Doctors now, right? Surely not. What? Why would they wear... What the hell is going on? Mickey and Minnie Mouse now, right? They're not scary. For the love of everything.
Ew.
You're lying, Sharon. Oh my God, what in the Halloween is going on? A diving suit now.
Looks like that one thing from
I'd
SpongeBob.
have a heart attack. See, that one doesn't look... Easter Bunny now. Well, that looks scary to me right now. What are they used to? Who makes these costumes? I'm telling you, that's not real. Look at the kids, they're screaming. Santa Claus now. During Christmas time. For the love of everything. What do you mean the Teletubbies have always looked the same? They've always looked the same.
That's crazy.
What?
We have a breaking news story. This is the biggest news story that I have ever seen in my life. We have a handwritten receipt of a victim being trafficked from Jeffrey Epstein to Donald Trump. Be ready to pause this video, read this image that I'm about to put on the screen, and make sure not a single American goes another day without knowing that this image exists.
What the hell?
In that image, we could see that the victim's name was redacted, but we could see her sale price for $22,000, and she was being described as fully depreciated at the time that she was sold to the sitting president of the United States. I don't know if this will get through to MAGA or not. I don't think it matters. We need to make sure not a day goes by where there is a single soul in this country that does not know this document exists.
People are getting weird.
Not Ariana Grande.
Is this the age of Aquarius? Carl Jung actually said the age of Aquarius would be a time of moral collapse. A time that reminded him of those dark centuries where the culture of antiquity was slowly falling into decay. And when the confusion around morals is at its height, a new revelation will dawn for humankind. He said it will no longer be possible to ignore or write off evil. Though this is the age of distortion and confusion and moral loss, as Jung taught us, this will all lead to something. This isn't happening at random. This is by design, designed through interstellar forces we cannot fully comprehend. And this will lead to revelation. Perhaps the revelation is that humans have incredibly dark, sick parts of themselves, buried underneath their psyches. And in the past we hid these parts from each other, pretending to be the good husband or the good wife, the good politician or the good celebrity. But now the fragmented pieces of everyone's subconscious are coming out and they can't even help it. Now we get to see evil. And can you really understand good without understanding evil? So maybe we're here to understand evil. That's our revelation. And the degree to which we understand evil is the degree to which we can free ourselves to one day being good. This is complex though, and I could be wrong. What do you think?
I think humans are definitely aliens, just combined with monkeys.
I'm just gonna say it. It shouldn't exist. This place shouldn't be here. Machu Picchu isn't even the only city in the area that's 8,000 feet high. Yana Picchu is even higher. Before we try and explain how they got the rock to do that, you gotta explain why it was a priority to put doorways that go nowhere in the temple. This rock right here is what really gets me though. How do you get that up there? How did they know the same techniques as another culture across the globe? Why is the older stuff more advanced than the newer stuff? I don't see iPhones getting worse. I wouldn't know how to get water up here, but their fountains still work. We only know how they did it because we 3D scanned it. Not only did they know how to get it up there, they delivered it to the citizens via art. No one gives these guys enough credit. They thought these were for food or like grain, grinding grain up. They fill up with water one day and someone notices the angle at which they reflect. Built them to observe sections of the sky during specific times of the year through the windows of the surrounding building. And then we realize the whole place is aligned to the sky, celestial events. Here's the deal, when someone comes in and takes all your stuff, then enslaves your people, they get to write your story and make your people look like idiots. Yep. South America, Africa, India. Strange that they all have some form of this guy. But all of them just so happen to have the most unexplainable stuff. Utterly unsatisfactory explanations for what it was. All of which make the natives look inferior. I'll tell you what doesn't lie. A big old rock.
They do say history is his story.
This is your only way to get fresh air here.
If you're claustrophobic, or afraid of heights for that matter, working in Hoover Dam is probably not the job for you. This is another TikTok that I got tagged in. It shows a person walking down a pretty dimly lit corridor with this vent at the end of it. And the caption says, POV, you're working in Hoover Dam and this is your only source of fresh air. And they're really not exaggerating here. For those unfamiliar with the Hoover Dam, this is what it looks like. It is absolutely massive. You can drive on top of it, and it blocks up the Colorado River on the border between Arizona and Nevada. The inside of the dam has a bunch of machinery and inner workings, just like many other dams. And in order for fresh air to get inside, ventilation shafts were built that are large enough for people to walk through. And if you look close enough while you're on top of the dam, you might be able to see them right here. This is exactly what it looks like. Personally, I've been to the Hoover Dam several times. I would try this out, but it would still probably freak me out and make me feel vertigo. For those of you that have been and you've stood on top and looked down, let me know if you guys felt vertigo, because it felt like I was about to fall off.
Come take a closer look. Ew. This Whopper isn't what you think it is. Brace yourself. First ingredient, FDA-approved chemical preservatives. Strong enough to keep this thing alive for weeks. Inside, it's pure decay, but with the right chemicals, they make it look brand new. When the meat starts to rot, they just burn it. Not to cook it, but to hide it. As long as it tastes good, who cares? And those grill marks you love? Half the time, they're painted on. Our special blend of ingredients guarantees the perfect Whopper every time. Getting hungry? So after all that, you still thinking about taking a bite?
You're already infected. Brain rot reels.
Yes, this is actually very real. Two castles that look so close together.
Indeed, this is very, very cool. However, I think a lot of people are making up their own stories in their head when it comes to these two castles, so I'll give you guys the basic rundown. The video that you guys just watched was recorded in Northumberland, England, and it shows two old castles that are in close proximity to one another. This one, a little bit larger with square structure, and this one appearing to be on an island not too far off the coast. The square structure that you guys see is Bamberg Castle. This was a settlement and more so a fortress with military ties, whereas the second castle is Lindisfarne. It's a little bit smaller, and this originally was a monastery for monks before becoming a settlement that overlooked this harbor. I know a lot of people thought these castles might have warred with one another, or people might have been in love with each other from different kingdoms, but from what I can tell, that doesn't really seem to be the case, and they're approximately a half-hour drive by car from one another. Still, it's really cool seeing these castles, especially being so close to one another. History is pretty cool.
The invention of artificial rain was truly a stroke of genius. Just fire a few rockets into the sky, and it starts to rain. So how does this work? Clouds are basically tiny water droplets floating in the air. They don't fall because the droplets are simply too small. The purpose of launching rockets is to make those droplets bigger. Inside the rockets are catalysts like dry ice, silver iodide, and sodium chloride. Their crystal structure is hexagonal, just like ice, so they can act as condensation nuclei. When water droplets come into contact with these substances, they begin to condense on them, gradually growing larger. Once the droplets become big enough, they can overcome the updraft and air resistance, eventually falling to the ground as rain. And it's not just rockets, we can also use airplanes carrying catalysts, spraying them directly into the clouds to achieve the same effect of artificial rainfall.
Ever wonder why you can't resist the urge to come back every day? Haha, it's all by design. You think you're choosing the drink? But the drink is choosing you. The sweetness is engineered to hijack your brain, and you still call it a treat.
Every pump, every swirl, carefully crafted to keep you hooked forever.
This isn't flavor, it's chemical obedience.
Sugar, flavors, stimulants, all carefully engineered to make you crave more than you did yesterday.
And tomorrow, you'll be right back for more.
You're already infected.
Yep. I feel like the combination of caffeine and sugar, two of the most addictive things in the world. Well, they're not like the most addictive, but like one of the most addictive, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that combination is like a lethal serum for just straight up addiction. Like there's so many people I know that every single day they go to like Starbucks and stuff like that, like Dunkin', they go to Dunkin'. So this is disturbing. Trump grabbing Bill Clinton's pee-pee. Interesting.
Trump and Bill Clinton, and it kind of makes the recent Epstein email disclosures make a little more sense. So this is one of the emails released by the House Oversight Committee recently, detailing an email chain between Jeffrey Epstein and his brother Mark. As you can see at the bottom, Mark and his brother Jeffrey are talking about Donald Trump at the beginning of this email chain. At one point, Epstein states that he's with Bannon. I'm assuming that's Steve Bannon. And then Mark Epstein, Jeffrey's brother, emails him and says, ask him if Putin still has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba. If you don't know, Bubba is a very common nickname for former US President Bill Clinton, who Trump claims publicly that he hates, but who he has had a very close personal friendship with in the past. And I don't know about you, but I don't typically just grab my friends on the crotch. This is definitely a strange photo. If you even check out the top of that email chain, there's another weird message. And Mark Epstein, Jeffrey's brother, emails him saying, you and your boy Donnie can make a remake of the movie Get Hard.
Hey, yo.
Now, could this possibly be true? Could there potentially be photos of Donald Trump blowing Bubba, aka Bill Clinton? Obviously, I do not have the answers, but this is an official piece of information released by the US government, and this rabbit hole goes extremely deep. I talk about this stuff all the time on my channel, The Conspiracy Files, which you can listen to as a podcast. I've done hour-and-a-half-long deep dives on Trump and Epstein and Clinton and Epstein recently, so if you want to learn more about this deep, dark rabbit hole, please, I encourage you to go check those out.
Is it me or is Trump and Bill Clinton's face in this thing red as hell? Either they just got sunburnt or they are super embarrassed. One or the other. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but they look red as hell. He looks awkward as hell. And he looks like he's giving an awkward laugh. I don't know what's going on down here, but yeah, something awkward is going on here.
So this guy likes to secretly set things on fire. He also just happens to be a firefighter. Now the guy's name is John, and John is 35 when this story starts, and he's living in Glendale, California. But John has a big problem. Even though he works as a firefighter and he mainly handles arson investigations, he also loves starting fires. Like he'll low-key set a whole ass building on fire and then later he'll show up to investigate it. And so of course he always figures out the cause of each fire because, you know, he's the one who secretly started it. And he does this a ton, like he sets all kinds of fires and no one knows it's him. And one day in 1984, John gets the urge to start yet another one. So he builds an incendiary device using a cigarette and some matches and flammable glue. Then he drives to South Pasadena to this home improvement store. And there he goes inside, and when no one is looking, he lights his incendiary device and he places it on a foam cushion and he just walks away and leaves the scene. And the fire catches and slowly it starts to spread. And then kaboom, the flames get out of control. And this creates a big structure fire. And unfortunately, 4 people die because of this. And later, the firefighters show up and the sheriff's department rules the cause as an electrical accident. But John hears this and he's like, no, it wasn't. He starts arguing with them like, no, someone deliberately set the fire. It's like he secretly wants credit or something. But anyway, soon he goes and he sets another fire, and then another one, and then another one. Then he'll later investigate and he'll pinpoint the cause with accuracy. And over time, he starts to get a really good reputation as a top arson expert. He even starts writing articles about how he caught over 40 serial arsonists and how he understands how they think. So on the outside, John looks like the Sherlock Holmes of arson. He's always appearing on TV to reassure people whenever there's a fire. But in reality, he's kind of a psychopath. And the fires he sets hurt people. And so 3 years go by. And it's now 1987. And one day, John attends an arson investigators conference in Fresno, California. And while he's there with all those other arson investigators, boom, the urge to start a fire suddenly hits him again. So he sneaks away from the conference, and he walks into a pharmacy, and he plants this incendiary device in some sleeping bags that are on display, and he sets them on fire. And kaboom, the whole store goes up in flames, and it burns down.
That's wild.
Then he sees a fabric store, and he does the same thing, like he secretly sets that on fire too. Next, he drives to a nearby town, and he sees another pharmacy and a fabric store, and he sets those on fire as well. And no, he's not done yet. Then he drives over to yet another nearby town, and in a craft shop, he hides his incendiary device in some artificial flowers. And kaboom, the whole place goes up in flames. So he sets 5 fires in one day. However, this time, at the scene of one of the fires, arson investigators find what turns out to be a clue. One of the incendiary devices is partially wrapped in yellow paper. It's not much, but it's something. Not only that, but the captain of the Bakersfield Fire Department, this guy, Marvin notices that several fires have occurred since that arson investigators conference started. And that is when Marvin starts thinking maybe the person behind all this is one of the attendees of the conference. But, he doesn't have any evidence. It's just a theory. And so he shares this theory with other fire captains, but they don't really take him seriously. So Marvin has to let this theory go, and the case goes cold. Now, here's where the story gets really crazy. A few years pass, and it's now 1989, and there's another arson expert conference happening in Pacific Grove. And of course, John is there attending. And while he's there, he again gets the urge to start some fires. And so he goes and he secretly lights up multiple buildings in the area.
That's crazy, dude.
And again, when the arson investigators investigate the aftermath, they find that the fire was started with the same type of incendiary device wrapped in a piece of yellow paper. Plus, this time, there's a partial fingerprint. And Marvin, he hears about these fires, and he immediately notices the timing. These fires also happened during an arson conference. So now he's convinced that whoever is starting these fires is an arson investigator. So he himself starts investigating. And he gets a list of the attendees of the conference, and he compares the names to the list from the previous conference years ago. And he sees that only 10 people attended both events. And one of those people is John. So he then orders a fingerprint test on these 10 guys because he wants to see if it matches that partial fingerprint that they found. But unfortunately, the system can't confirm a match. So nothing else happens, and again, the case goes cold. Then 2 more years pass, and it's now 1991, and John's weird ass is still out there setting fires. And by now, he's like overconfident. I mean, he's been doing this for 7 years, and so far, no one has caught him.
That's crazy.
So he decides to take it a step further and write a novel for some reason. It's called Points of Origin. And it's about an arson investigator who secretly starts a bunch of fires while pretending to solve them. So the novel he's writing seems to be like low-key about himself. Like it feels like it's based on him. And in the book, he even writes about details from the real fires that he started. Like, he writes about how this character starts a fire in a hardware store that ends up killing 4 people, which is exactly what John did years earlier. Also, the character in this novel is sexually aroused by setting these fires. So I don't know if John is also like that or what, but ew. Anyway, while he writes this book, he keeps setting fires. He sets fire to a store in North Hollywood. He starts a fire in Glendale that destroys over 60 homes. He even sets fire to part of Warner Brothers Studios' backlot, which destroys one of their sets. Now, at this point, John, he's set a bunch of fires throughout his career. Some estimates say that it's several hundred. Some estimates say that it's more than 2,000. It's hard to get an exact number of how many that were caused by him, but it's a lot. And so far, no one has caught him, so it looks like he's just gonna keep getting away with it. Until Now, at some point, the fires have become too frequent to ignore. I mean, it's gotta be the same person behind all of them. So, a special task force is created to find whoever's behind these fires. And this task force decides to retest the partial fingerprint found at the craft shop fire years earlier with a newer, more advanced system. And this time, boom, the fingerprint has a match. John. And the investigators, they don't believe it. Like, they think surely John must have accidentally contaminated the evidence. Like, there's no way he's the guy. But then they investigate more, and they discover that there's no way he could have contaminated this evidence. So they start tracking him. Like, they literally place a hidden tracker on his car.
That's wild.
And they monitor him, and slowly but surely, they start piecing all this evidence together. And they question John's supervisors. And that is when one of them mentions that he has written a novel, and that he's been trying to sell the manuscript to get it published. And so they go and they search John's home, and they find the manuscript, and so they comb all through it, and they immediately notice how similar the stories in his book are to the real-life fires. So with all this evidence against him, bam, police arrest John. And I couldn't find a mugshot, but here he is in police custody. And so after all that, ultimately he gets life in prison.
That kind of remind me of like rappers, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of rappers that make songs about literal, you know what I'm saying, murders that they have done and stuff like that, or murders that people they've known have done. And a lot of them try to fight it in court because they're like, you can't use our lyrics against us. But I don't know why it's like human tendency sometimes to literally just self-snitch on yourself. Just be like, yeah, I'm going to just write a book about a fictional story that's actually true. And then once, you know what I'm saying, people find out it's true, then they're just like, dude, it's not true. I didn't actually do it. Oh, it was just a made up story. I didn't actually go on a drill at 2 a.m. and actually lit up the whole block. I didn't do that. But then it's in your song when you're talking about driving down whatever lane at 2 a.m. lighting up the whole block. And that actually happened. So they're like, dude, obviously it's you. You literally admitted it in the song. But it's entertainment. If you're gonna do something, you might as well just shut up about it. If I'm being honest, that's what I'm trying to say. What's up, famity? So that video you guys just seen was actually a live stream I did earlier today. These are both going up on the same day. It was a live stream I did earlier. A lot of people were in there. Around 500 people were actually live watching me react to these videos. I'm gonna try to upload videos like this at least 2 to 3 times a week, where we can, you know what I'm saying, interact with each other while I'm watching these creepy TikToks. But I'm also going to be doing the usual videos that you guys obviously like. But if you ever want to hop on a live and come see me literally live react to some of these dark TikToks, you can hop on a live. Obviously in this video, a lot of the things were cut. There's a lot of cut footages. There's a lot of cut moments where I spoke. There's a lot of cut stuff in this video, so it could come out a lot better than the stream. But if you want to see like the live reaction with no cuts, no unedits, no mutes, no, like everything just raw, like, you know what I'm saying, there's a lot of clips that I do cut when I put a normal video up, but in a live stream I just leave it as it is, raw. So if you guys want to see the raw footage, or even just want to join the live stream, hop on the live stream. I'm about to put the actual live at the end of this video, so if you want to click on it and watch me just like the raw footage, because like I'm saying, there's a lot of clips cut, there's a lot of moments where I spoke that got cut shorter than they should be, or cut out completely. There's a lot of clips that got cut out completely. So if you guys want to see everything raw and unedited, watch the live stream that's about to pop up if it isn't already popped up.